Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Yarnflakes Podcast. My name is Audrey and this is a nitty yarny podcast from the southwest of France. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this new episode. Happy New Year! Many of us, I'm not so sure what happy means in 2021, but I believe that the sentiment is shared, that you understand what people mean. I hope you spent nice holidays, that you are all nice and well. Thank you so much for joining me for this new episode. It's been a month since I actually recorded a proper podcast. If you are new to the channel, hello, welcome. I'm Audrey, I'm a knitwear designer, and here on YouTube I share pretty much everything that I make. And in December I did Vlogmas, so I did short little music vlogs sharing my days and what I was making, and I really enjoyed making that. It was really fun and it really helped me go over the season, which is not necessarily super happy for me or a lot of people. And I'm so grateful for all your kind comments on the Vlogmases. I'm really happy you enjoyed them, and yeah, that's an experience to renew if the context for the following years works for that as well. But we are back to regular podcasting content with me talking. And so I do have quite a lot of things to share. I made a lot of things over December, a lot of different things. I'm very much in the mood to do a bunch of different crafts. And you probably have seen that if you've seen my Vlogmases. And the thing is, I'm not going to record a 2-hour long episode. So I decided to split the things, and in January there probably will be like 2 or 3 episodes once per week, so that I can split everything that I have to share, and that I separated different projects across different episodes. So this episode I have 2 new designs that I would like to share with you. I have a work in progress, a new one. I will also talk about embroidery. And at the end of the episode, I will quickly talk about Patreon, because I have a Patreon page where you can follow along behind the scenes of my work. I also share technical content there, specific discussions, and my patterns basically. So I think I'm just gonna start. You can find timestamps to all the different sections of the podcast in the description down below. So if you want to skip anything, feel free to look at that and jump ahead. I also put links to everything that I talk about, as well as my social media and my patterns for sale on Ravelry and Payhip. So the first thing I want to share with you is a design that I released, I believe, mid-December, and it is 2020's free pattern. I really like sharing a free design once a year, basically to thank you for your support, and also because I do believe it's good to be able to see the way a creator writes their patterns. If you're sort of entering the indie designer world and you're just starting out knitting and everything, it's better to have an idea of the way a designer writes, because we don't all work the same, basically. And sometimes the way a designer writes and things is not gonna be the same as you think, and sometimes it might not suit you. So that's why I think it's nice to have examples in free patterns. So last year's free pattern was a scarf, and it is the Ovid scarf. So it's an intarsia scarf with embroidered flowers. So basically you start at the tip here with one color. You make garter on the bias because you decrease and increase because this is pretty for one, and also it adds a lot of drape. You increase to the side, making this little triangle, and once you've reached a certain width for the garter panels, you start incorporating the center color, and you work this all around the scarf, all along the scarf in intarsia. So intarsia is really simple. You basically just switch color and you cross the threads on the wrong side to attach the different parts. It's a really simple technique. If you've never done it, don't be afraid. In the pattern, I share a video tutorial that explains everything. So I filmed myself as I was doing it from the start, how to start, how to manage your different balls of yarns, how I do it, not to get tangled and everything, how I knit a right side row, how I work a purl row, a wrong side row, and how you finish at the end. So the pattern has that video tutorial. So if you've never done intarsia, this is a totally beginner friendly pattern. It was also my first time knitting intarsia. I know the technique for a long time, but I actually never practiced it. But it's so simple. So if I can do it and design something with it, it being my first time knitting it, you can. It's really, really a basic intarsia pattern. And yeah, so you just knit the scarf. Basically, the sides are in that garter and the center are in stockinette. And you knit until the end, where you basically finish like you started in a point. You can add tassels if you like. And at the end, you can do these embroidered flowers. So we keep seeing a lot of embroidery everywhere, and I love it. I kind of want to embroider everything. And so this is like a little start, basically. Yes, the pattern includes a link to the method I followed. It's basically a detached chain stitch. I think that's how you call it. You just make a loop and then you anchor it like this. This is how I made those flowers. Yeah, in the pattern I made a little schematic showing you where I placed my flower bouquet and the single flowers in case you want to reproduce it. But obviously the goal here is to just place the flowers wherever you want them. You can make them different color. You can have fun with it. That's the goal for this design. And it's a scarf, and you can use fingering weight yarn. So the yarns I used are a sock yarn from Les Petites Potions in Les Fleurs Séchées, so dried flowers. So this is a fingering sock weight yarn classic, and in the center I held two yarns together. I held a lace weight, which was Filcolana Saga, which was a fine lamb's wool with 300 meters per 50 grams. And I held it together with Holst Garn Titicaca, which is a lace weight alpaca, because I wanted something a bit fluffy and textured. If you do this adds another ball of yarn that you need to manage, so keep that in mind. You can use any fingering weight will work and match the gauge, because you can use blends, something with alpaca if you do want something fluffy, or you can use a simple sock yarn as well for the center, and it will work perfectly. And yeah, it's a really simple design, but I really like it. And I think I said everything. Like I said, it is free on Ravelry and Payhip. It will always be free. And you can have fun mixing and matching the different colors and textures with it. So, yeah. That's it for Ovid. Did I say the name? Yes, it's Ovid. flowers. So yeah, there are several ways to embroider flowers. Sometimes you just make straight stitches. This is the loops method, but like I said, it's all length in the pattern. So yes, now I can give this to my mother because she keeps stealing my knits. She needs to have a scarf or a shawl that match every outfit. So that's what we will do. Yeah, I think I said everything. The next design I want to show you is a design that I recently released, and it's new as well. It's a surprise because it's a design that was created for the charity skein, so l'Echeveau Solidaire en français, in French. It was it's a charity created by Lily, and basically for a few years now she is working along. What's this? I have a weird scar on my forearm. She's working with designers and yarn dyers, and she's creating patterns to fund research against fibrous dysplasia, of which her daughter Gaia is ill with. I don't know if you can say ill when it's like a not temporary thing. I'm not sure. English medicine vocabulary. But anyway, she wanted to make a special Christmas magazine where she asked 10 designers to create patterns specifically for the charity skein, and so we did. She contacted me and I was very happy too because I really enjoy working with her. It was really pleasant creating that design for her. She's really well organized. She's dependable. Can you say that? When you can reliable, not dependable, reliable. That's exactly the opposite. She's reliable, and she did so much work, and the result is beautiful. And the ebook is only in French, so if you do speak French, I know some French people watch the podcast in English. The electronic version, the digital version of the magazine is available on Ravelry, and she's also planning to do a reprint, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But the pattern that I created is now published also as an individual pattern, and it's also in English, of course. So it is a cowl. It's the Gentiane cowl. And so the goal was to create an accessory with 2 different bases that were included in with the magazine for the people who bought it. And basically, it uses a decay weight Surrey Merino blend, which is this fluffy one, and a fingering weight yak and silk. And it was really fun, sort of the challenge to find something that works with both bases and that puts them both together. And I'm really, really happy with the result. The stitch pattern just fits this so well. It's really nice. It's a very simple cowl. So you provisionally cast on stitches here. And then you work the motif flat. So it's elongated stitches which are then slipped. If you can see here the lines. So you only use 1 color per row. It's not color work. It's super easy to do, and you just knit until you reach the desired length that you want for your cowl. So you can make it short as well if you like. And then you use a 3-needle bind off to close the cowl. And to finish it off, you pick up stitches along the edge here, because there was a slipped stitch edge. You pick up stitches and you make a I-cord bind off on both sides. This basically makes a really neat finish. on the edges of the cowl, and I really, really like it. So this is really easy to knit. It's really fun to play around with different textures and different colors. So you can use any sort of fluffy yarn in DK for the background. You can hold yarns together if you like as well. If you want to hold some mohair and some sari alpaca together, this works fine. Or you can use just a plain DK as well. It works. And yeah, if you check on Ravelry, there's a couple testing versions where some people also reverse the contrast. So you have a dark background and a light contrast color on the top that makes this plaid motif. And it's really fun. And I absolutely love the cowl. So you can wear it as any long double cowl like this, or you can double it and have it all nice and cozy. So yeah, this is Gentiane, and it is available on Ravelry and Payhip now if you like it. And it's a really fun, quick knit. So if you're cold, oh my god, no, sorry, fluff everywhere. If it's cold where you are, like it is here, yeah, it's a really nice squishy thing. So that's it. That's it for the designs I wanted to show you this time. Like I said, all the information is in the description down below. So yeah, moving on to I have one work in progress, knitting work in progress that I want to share with you, and it is the Into the Woods yoke. This is a pattern from Bee Mandarins, so Melody Hoffmann. It's not published yet. It's available on her Patreon page. So if you're a Patreon to Melody, you have access to her patterns before they're released. So this is where I got it. Yeah, my friend Annalise and I both wanted to knit this design, and so we decided to do like a mini knit along, just the two of us. So yeah, I started like in middle of December, I think, and this is where I am. So it's a yoke with this tree motif in there that Bee Mandarins has used quite often, and it's just stitches that you pull basically. And it's really funny because I used that motif in some designs as well, like 2 years ago, I don't remember, but I could see it was the same motif, and it's actually the first time I follow one of Bee Mandarin's pattern, and it's actually done in the completely opposite way, and it's so fun because you have a similar result and you could think it's the same, and I did think that, but actually it's done the other way. The way I do these sort of motifs is I do elongated stitches basically. So I create the long stitch and I pull them up. I bring them up with my knitting. And she does the exact opposite. She has you dig for it backwards, pull the loop and bring it up. And that's really fun. It's just a fun thing to notice how different things can be made. And this allows you to have them more packed, I think. And it's really, really nice. So yeah, basically it works like color work. You carry your threads. It's not on every row, so it's really easy and kind of meditative to do. It's really fun. I really liked it. I'm knitting size 3, which is going to give me more ease, about more than 20, I think, because I like loose stuff. And yeah, as you can see, I finished the body. I even did the neckline. I did modify one thing, is that the pattern has you provisionally cast on stitches and then take them back to knit the ribbing. I don't like that because it's pretty, because then the ribbing just smoothly flows from the stitches, and it makes a more open, flowy neckline maybe. I kind of prefer a tighter neckline and more structured ones, and especially since I'm knitting a size bigger than I should, I kind of prefer to have some tighter things here. And I can actually put it on to show you. And yeah, it's really fun to knit. It's really easy. And at the bottom of the body, you do some decreases. It's not blocked or anything. You do some decreases to slightly gather before the ribbing. And so I did the body shorter than what she said, because if I did it the length that was written, I would have had the decreases on my butt, and decreasing in the largest part of my bodily entity is not a good thing. So I did it a bit shorter. And now it fits just perfect. So it's, as you can see, so nice. It's worsted weight. So the design is this. This looks awful with the stripes. Bear with me. The design is worked with Gilead from Derero Natura, which is a woolen span merino, non-superwash, and it's really good because it's a great yarn. I really like it. It's a yarn that could be DK because it has 250 meters to 100 grams. I really don't like working it at a tight gauge. For me, this needs to be knit at the 20 stitches maximum per 10 centimeter. If not, it's way too tight. And because it's woolen span, it really blooms and it stays soft. And if you knit it too tight, it's just a block. And it might work really well for outdoors, jackets and stuff. But for sweaters, I just really like something a bit looser. This is 18 stitches per 10 centimeter, and as you can see, it's just the right gauge for this yarn. And yeah, it's a great yarn. You save a bit of money because you don't need to buy a lot of it because it has more meterage, even though it's bigger. Woolen span magic for you. So yeah, and as you can see, it fits nicely. Well, my body shape is pretty forgiven at the top here. At the top here for any shape anyway, but yeah, it's a yoke. So basically you increase in between every tree motif, and it looks really cool. I wanted a softer contrast. It looks harsher on camera than it is in real life. In real life, the colors are a bit more heathered, so they blend a bit better together. The wrong side is funny. Yeah, the thing is, if I really wanted something muted, I would have had to go for something like natural and like very light beige, because there's a good range of this yarn in these colors. But I did want a color. I didn't want something in a beige, a sweater in a beige color. So I decided to go for this color, which is a new green. It's cedar, so cedar, basically. Cedar, not cider. Cedar, like the tree. It's a really nice green. We call that English green. I don't know why. And as a contrast, I chose eucalyptus, which is a very close shade of green, just lighter and a bit more heathered. It's also a new one, I think. And I think it looks really good together. And yeah, nothing else to say about this design. It's really fun to knit. There are short rows on the back here and at the bottom here. I had some issues reading them. I don't know why. I didn't understand. She writes her short rows in a way I'm not used to, and so I was confused if I needed to do one round complete and then a little bit, or if I should just do a little bit. My head wouldn't comprehend it after spending a day grading. So, but eventually I made it work because look, they seem to be on the right spot. So yeah, I just need to do the sleeves now. I need to check with my friend where she's at, if she has finished the body as well. And I do have other whips that I will show you in the following episodes. But yes, I'm really eager to have it finished because it looks really cool, and I think it's gonna suit me pretty well. So yeah, that's it knitting wise. That's all I wanted to share. I have some embroidery to show you. You might have seen in the latest podcast episode that I started doing some floral embroidery, and it's actually finished. And it is this one. So this is a pattern from Florals and Floss. She's a Canadian maker, and she makes how can I say? She makes PDFs patterns, and sometimes she has kits. And yeah, basically, I really enjoyed making it. I think it looks really good. It looks much better than I thought it would, because mostly it's due to the fact that the pattern is really good, and it gives you a step-by-step guide. It does not just give you the drawing and then say, okay, here you do satin stitch. No, it actually tells you, first you fill up with this color, then you add this shadow color, then you do this and this, like this. And this is great because I'm not good at painting anyway, and painting with needles is the same. This drawing art, like adding shadows, knowing where to place them, how to place them, knowing which color to put together so that it makes a nice natural gradient, or so that it looks good. I'm really terrible at this. I'm like the worst. And so I'm trying to get better, and this sort of patterns really help because it was really clear, and I'm really happy with the result. There's one thing that I'm not so happy with, and it's the little flowers here. They're made with the sort of chain stitch, exactly like the flowers on the Ovid scarf. It's the same stitch. It's a loop basically that you then anchor at the top. And this design has you use all 6 strands of the cotton embroidery thread, and that's quite thick. It's the first time I ever saw such a thick requirement. And basically this meant that for these loops it was a bit hard to have them to lay flat, because there was always one thread that was too loose compared to the others. But so as I was doing it, I was a bit disappointed because I was like, oh god, that's not that's gonna ruin the whole thing. But actually I sort of managed to fix it, because when I added these, you can see these khaki olivey green leaves here, I managed to sort of fix the irregularities. Like as I was stitching the green thing, I sort of pushed down the white threads even more so that they wouldn't look irregular. And I'm really happy with the result, and I think it looks cool. That's the back. I might sew like something at the back. I don't know, because this just sits like this on my wall, so I don't really care what it looks like in the back. And yeah, I'm really happy with it, and it definitely... What? There's a really big crow staring at me. Like, do you have something to say? Like, yeah, okay. He's not leaving. Anyway, I was currently working on, it's really distracting. It's like staring at me like this from the tree. It's like this is not a subtle clue that something is going to happen, okay? I'm currently working, like, for a couple of years now. I have this embroidery, this cross stitch pattern that I've been working on for a couple of years. It's black work, so it's only black, and it I can see it in the corner of my eyes. Horrible. And it's long, it's just long. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's just black. And so I feel, now that I've done this really pretty colorful thing, I feel much more motivated to finish my cross stitch. And I really want to keep doing cross stitch and embroidery because I really enjoy it. And I have quite a few patterns already, so I just have to choose what's next once I finish the black cross stitch, I promised. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you for this episode. I'm going to end with a Patreon talk. So if you don't know, I have a Patreon page. Patreon is a place where you can support makers, and there's a ton of different things there. There's musicians, there's illustrators, there's content creators, and there's some knitwear designers like myself. And basically it's another way for you to buy a pattern. So when you join Patreon, you have 3 levels: one that's €2, one that's €5, and one that's €10. From the second one, so €5, you get a pattern, and from €10 you get 2 patterns, and it's the patterns that you want from my shops. I don't make you take a new pattern or anything. So if you know you want to get a pattern from me, it's a good idea to go through Patreon, because then you get the pattern and you also have access to everything else that happens on Patreon. So it's I like to put specific content there, not just use it as a support platform. Basically, I put every month a technical video. Sometimes it's a behind the scenes vlogs of my work, but since I'm quite tech influenced, knitting wise, there's always some information there, at least I hope. And if not, we discuss a specific topic. And when you join Patreon, you can actually see all the videos that have been there since I started. So I'm on Patreon since October 2019. That's it, go away. Since 2019. And so we've talked about a lot of different topics. And when you join Patreon, you can see everything from there. And this month's topic is stitch dictionaries. I wanted to talk a little bit about stitch dictionaries. First, explain to you how I use them for inspiration and for my design work. Because I feel there's a little bit of a misconception about what stitch dictionaries are and how they can be used. It's very rare to see a knitwear design that uses a motif that isn't found in a stitch dictionary. It doesn't mean that the person found it there or that the person is not creative, but yes, even really, really creative people and really unique motifs like the one Stephen West used, yes, they are in stitch dictionaries, and that doesn't take away anything from the design. And there's some misconceptions about stitch dictionaries, so I wanted to just share how I personally like and use them. And more importantly, I also show a couple of them that I find really fun to have if you're not a designer, but you just want to maybe customize your own knits. Say you have a sweater pattern that fits you, or a hat or mittens or socks, and you want to add a different stitch. You want to find a cable or lace or colorwork. And there are some stitch dictionaries that are really easy to use and that offer really fun motifs, and these are the ones I share in this Patreon video. So these Patreon videos, they are recorded in French, but I subtitle them myself. So they're handwritten subtitles, so it means they actually mean something. So yeah. And yeah, basically that's how Patreon works. When you join, you can see all of that. You can get the pattern, etc. And yeah, you can come and go as you please. That's it. I think that's all I had to say for this new episode. Yeah, so I will see you very soon, probably next week, for another episode with one more wave of projects to share with you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed me talking again. And yeah, have a lovely rest of the day, evening, whatever applies. And I will see you very soon. Bye!